Hey, Gina,
Yes?
I got a joke for you.
Oh boy.
What do you call a boomerang that won't come back?
Gee, Don, I don't know.
It's a stick.
It's Tuesday, and it's time for simple ideas and tips to help parents live a more conscious parenting experience. Today we're talking about mirroring. Mirroring is a method of communication that you can use with your spouse and your kids, or anyone for that matter. When you mirror, you reflect back what the other person is saying without judgment. It's a way of letting them know you hear them. It could go like this. So what I hear you saying is, so you're saying that, and you reflect back what they've said to you, and then you listen. This method involves validation and empathy.
And turning down phones.
Don, I could imagine you're feeling frustrated right now. Would you like to share something with me?
Yes, it frustrates me. I feel frustrated when I hear your phone go off while we're on recording.
So I hear you saying that you're frustrated. I know you asked me before we hit record, is your phone silenced? And I replied yes, and then we discovered it wasn't. And I imagine that frustrates you.
Yes, it does.
Is there more?
Well, I wish we had planned this just a little better, I guess would be part of that. So we'd think about all these things that need to be done before we do this.
Okay, so you're telling me you like when we plan ahead before we start doing something like recording our podcasts. Is there more?
No, I think that's got it covered.
Well, I can imagine that that's frustrating for you. You like to plan, you like to know what's going to happen, and you don't like to have to repeat and have interruptions, especially phone interruptions. So in the future, I will double check my phone rather than assume that I have silenced it.
So right there, it kind of brings us to what I kind of call a negotiating point, where we can kind of talk about how can we solve this, how can we, and it doesn't have to be one side or the other makes the decision. We each can almost kind of like brainstorming in a way. We can kind of look at, well, I could do this next time, and well, that sounds good. Maybe,
And sometimes you can use it when you have a lot on your chest that you've got to get off. And we learned this skill from a counselor years ago based on the book by Orville Hendricks and Helen Hunt.
Yes, not the one that was on TV, but...
and the name of the book...
Getting the Love You
Want, Keeping the Love You Find, and there was a third book.
Losing the Love You Don't Want. No, that's not...
And so we learned with this method to come to the other person and say, look, Don, I need you just to listen. I'm going to share something with you. Can you be there for me? Can you just listen?
And the other person can agree or disagree.
You can say, right now I got my mind on this other stuff. Can you tell me about this in an hour or right after dinner?
Well, even the next day, I think is
like I'm struggling today, and I don't know that I'm going to be a really good ear for you.
When it comes from imago theory, I think is what he called it, Orville Hendricks, and he wrote those books with it. It's helped us throughout many years of work and being able to communicate better. It's still not always the easiest, because it just when you get into the place of
we get defensive.
Yeah.
Someone comes at us with something, and that's where it's so important to use I statements rather than you. I can't believe you left your phone on, you told me it was off, versus I'm frustrated when you've told me that the phone is off and then we discover it's not.
Yeah.
Because it feels attacking, and then the other person's going to get defensive, and that's how you get into a power struggle. And
remember your shields?
Yes. Yeah, well, you would say, Gina, I got to tell you something. Are you able to listen? And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put my armor on. So I put shields up, and I took my hand and prepared myself, and so that I could just be a sounding board, really. I've heard this used in different ways of even you can, when someone comes to you, say, okay, do you want just someone to listen? Are you looking for advice? I want to say there was a third thing, but what is it you need from me now?
Well, I've also found that you can do this in a one-way method. You know, even when somebody isn't sharing the idea with you, they come at you with stuff, is to be able to stand back and be able to do a, wow, you're really upset, and just really put your attention to them and listen to them.
Yeah, they don't have to understand the process
And
for
just,
you to engage.
you know, when
and
they
it can make a
as-
difference.
You can even still use the, is there more to it? And go through a one-way process of going through this, and it still works. So that's the tip for this Tuesday.
Love to hear if you try it out, or any thoughts and questions and suggestions.
And this is Don and Gina with Focused Healthy Family.
See you next Tuesday.
And it's www.focusedhealthyfamily.com.
That's our podcast for today. We hope you have enjoyed it. We would love to hear from you. Make sure to leave us a comment. If you like what you heard today, you can learn more about our parent coaching program or join us for our next workshop. Find out at www.focusedhealthyfamily.com and follow us on Facebook at Focused Healthy Family. Remember, how you speak to your children shapes their future.